AITA for ending my engagement. Over my fiancé's comment about my mom? I, 26F, am not from USA, so I might have some grammatical errors. So, my dad left my mom and I when I was only 5 years old. I also have a brother, 21M. He left the country with his mistress and never tried to contact. We were really poor. My mom had to do some immoral stuff to get food on the table. She was a stripper, and also sometimes pleased men to get money for us. She put me and my brother through school. I understood why my mom did what she did because we had no money and she wanted us to have a life better than ours. And I am not ashamed because of it. I also started working part-time when I was 14. I was a good student, so I got a scholarship to a good university. My mom eventually stopped stripping when my brother got a part-time job too. She now only works as a waitress. I met my fiancé Javi, 27M, in college. This was my first serious relationship. We both loved each other. I never told Javi about my mom's past, because my mom made me promise to never say that to anyone. I kept that, but it felt so wrong to keep this huge information away from my fiancé. Javi knew about us. He only knew that my family was extremely poor. He doesn't care about that. He is a very sweet guy who always takes care of me. He even covered some of the cost of my brother's education as well, even though I told him not to. My mom also likes him. That's why she told me not to tell Javi anything about her past or what she did for a living. So, a week ago, my mom and I went to Javi's house to meet his parents. I didn't realize his uncle and aunt would also be there. Upon seeing his uncle, my mom's face went white as if she saw a ghost. His uncle also kept staring my mom as if he knows her. My mom felt uncomfortable and said that she wants to go home. Javi was confused by it, but nonetheless, we left earlier than we anticipated. The next day, my fiancé came to our place and shouted at me that I lied to him. He said that I am a gold digger just like my mother, and my mother is the reason why his uncle's first marriage broke. I asked him to explain what the hell is he talking about. He said that his uncle knew my mom because he was a regular customer of her and often hired her for her services. His wife caught them red-handed and immediately filed for divorce. My mom was crying and said that she didn't know he was married. She never asks men about their marital status. I told him that he has no right to speak to my mom like that, and his uncle was fully to blame because he was a married man who was hiring escorts for himself. My mom has no obligation towards his marriage. Javi still blamed me and mom and said that he felt deceived. He said to my face that he doesn't want to date a whore's daughter because I will probably invite men just like my mom. My mom had to beg him to not break the engagement. I am tired. If I do end up marrying him, my mom would always have to suffer because of it. I don't want that, so I gave him back his engagement ring and told him to never show his face. My mom is angry because she thinks this is my only chance to get married, because no other guy would marry into a family where the mom works as a sex worker. But I think I did the right thing because I am not ashamed of my mom. I didn't even wanted to hide it in the first place. I wanted to tell him the truth, but my mom refused it. So, AITA, I need to clear things out a bit. Javi knows everything about my life. He knows my dad fled the country and we had to live in poverty because of it. He knows my mom got pregnant way too young. I did give him hints that my mom had to do shady things to get by. He probably thought my mom stole things. But I didn't disclose that she was a sex worker. I wanted to tell him, but my mom said not to because she doesn't want this to escalate. Also, I never asked Javi to pay for my brother's education. He did it from the goodwill of his heart. I did promise to pay him back. I am not after his money. I do love him a lot. Even though we are broken up now, I still miss him. We have been together for 6 years. It is not easy to throw away those 6 years just like that. Relevant comments, more about culture. I know that. And I understand why he is upset. Sex work is heavily criticized in my country to the point even doctors refuses to treat them. I understand his family's stigma, especially his uncle was caught with my mom. So, they have a reason to hate her. I hoped that he would be a little bit understanding about our situation. If my mom didn't start working as a stripper, she would have never been able to send us school or college. I did love him a lot. Can you and your mom go to therapy? It is hard to find a good therapist around our area. Yes, I have money now, but my mom doesn't want to disclose her past because in the past, she was denied care because of her profession. More about the uncle. More about the uncle. Everyone knows what the uncle did. I do not have to broadcast it. His uncle was a regular client of my mom. She knew him because he would often hire her and also because his wife slapped and beat her when she found her in his uncle's house. Some people shame her mom for sleeping with married men as an escort. Some people shame her mom for sleeping with married men as an escort. First of all, it is none of my mom's business to tell those men to stop hiring escorts. Do you know that more than half of the men who hire these sex workers are actually married? Are you really telling me that my mom is an asshole for not turning down 50% of those men? Do you know what that means? It means losing 50% of her income. Do you know what it's like to lose 50% of your income? If she refused those services, then she would have never been able to keep a roof. Secondly, it's their marriage. My mom is just a service working who provides her services to men who hire her. It is none of her job or business to snoop or tell those men not to cheat. It's that man's ugly character that cheats on his wife with an escort. By your logic, a waitress shouldn't serve a married man food because only his wife gets to serve him food and no one else. Listen, my mom was a sex worker. It was her job to offer services to anyone who is willing to pay. Even if she refused to do that, do you think that man who wanted an escort would stop? No, someone else would take that offer. It is not her responsibility to save a marriage that is already broken. She is a sex worker, not a marriage counselor. What she does is business. The man himself doesn't care about his marriage, then why should my mom, who is not romantically involved with any of them? You offered your judgments, it is fine. But I must say your judgments are rather poor, because you are blaming a poor woman who only did what she did to put food on our plate. Would you rather she lose more than 50% of her income than care about some random man's marriage that the man himself doesn't care? It is not my mom's job to provide loyalty. It is 100% on the man who hired an escort in the first place. Update 2. I don't know if this qualifies as a proper update, but there have been few changes. After I broke the engagement, I have been getting calls from my friends and Javi's family that I am making a huge mistake. My close friends know that my mom used to be a sex worker, but mutual friends of mine and Javi does not know about it. So, they are also questioning me if I ever did that. Javi did apologize. He said he got carried away by his emotions and he loves me. Ngul, I love him too. I wanted to get past all of this. I know people have told me that I should not get married to this guy, but I was weak for a moment, until he told me that he is willing to let things go and start anew if my mom does not attend any wedding functions. I was shocked. Weddings are a big deal in our culture. There are many functions and parties surrounding the wedding. How can he ask that I do not involve my mom? He told me that because of my mom's past, it would be difficult for his family members to be around her. He convinced his mom with difficulty about this engagement. Also, since his uncle is going to be there, it will only remind him of bad things. At that moment, I realized that I was never a consideration. It was always him and making his family happy. My family is beneath them because we are not from a respectable background and come from homes of sex workers. I stood firm and told him no, it is not going to happen. I will not give in to their demands because the way I see it, my mom did not do anything wrong. It is funny how quickly people will judge a woman based on her work, that she had to do to feed her kids, but no one will come forward to help her in time of her need. Javi threatened that I am making a huge mistake by letting him go. I just left. I do not have the energy to deal with it. I think this news is spreading like wildfire now. I may have to move out of the city because if this news reaches to my workplace, I know damn well people will ostracize me, so I might look for a job in a different area. Lastly, I messaged him saying I am sorry for not telling him earlier about my mom, but I loved him a lot. I am sad that he chose this topic to ruin a 6-year-old relationship. I will be going to the bank and pay back the money he paid for my brother's education. I am still crying and jilted to say the least. Also, I saw that my post was shared in different religious groups bashing my mom, saying that I deserved it. Well, let me tell you religious fanatics that most men who claim to be religious are not at all. My mom had many clients who claimed to be religious, including pastors and preachers. So please, before blaming my mom, look inside your house and your family. You might find chameleons hiding within your family too. Update 3. So basically, my ex-fiancé disrespected my mother because she used to be a sex worker, and she did sex work because my sperm donor cheated on her and left her with his mistress to a different country. My ex-fiancé was mad at me and my mom because his uncle used to my mom's client and is one of the reasons why his aunt divorced him. Long story short, I broke up with him. Now to real update. As I suspected, the news of my mom's old profession did spread like a wildfire. Some of mine and Javi's friends literally cut me off because they don't want to deal with a sex worker's blood. I guess it is for the best, because it shows they are not my real friends. My real friends stuck with me. This impacted my brother a lot. I know living here would make things difficult. My brother will be graduating soon. I advised him to look for masters in a foreign country like in USA, Canada, or UK. Because of this whole fiasco, I, along with my mum, moved to a new city. I took a transfer from my work. My boss, bless her heart, is the most amazing human being. She literally defended me. She told my co-workers not to bother me about anything other than work. My personal life shouldn't be any of their business. She has been so supportive of me and my family. She never questioned me or judged me. She transferred me to a different city on my request and even managed to find an apartment for me and my mom. She is like Michael Scott, but mature. That is the only positive outcome from this. As for my ex, he is seeing another girl his parents set him up with. But he did call the first 2 months just to get me back. I had moments of weakness because I loved him so much, but the vile things he said about me and my family just played like a recorder. I am still trying to heal from everything. I just hope I can get my brother out of this hellhole into a better place. People here are fucking hypocrites and backdated. Nobody wants to change. Even people my age are so conservative. There's also been another bomb that dropped on us. That is my POS sperm donor found me on Facebook and messaged me to meet. I don't know what the hell does he think that I'm going to forget those 20 years we struggled because he was a coward. Selfish snake.